Ahead of tomorrow's games, President Trump slamming a New York Giants NFL player for kneeling on Thanksgiving as a military hero was singing our national anthem. The president tweeting, "Can you believe the disrespect for our country, our flag, our anthem continues without penalty to the players? The commissioner has lost control of the hemorrhaging league. Players are the boss." Patrice, you say that the president has it right on this.
I actually think he's correct. This national anthem protests are really not about police brutality or even criminal justice reform, as some of the players suggest. And you know, they're trying to be divisive. And unfortunately, the left has used this as a tool to divide Americans based on race, rather than trying to put forward a positive vision for what they can do. You know, and to their idea that maybe NFL players should be kept in the back until, you know, the national anthem is sung. That's not going to change their behavior. If they're really authentic about this and about what they claim that they're protesting for, they'll find another way to be disruptive. And at the end of the day, they will be the ones who suffer.
Gary B., does the president have it right on this?
He does have it right, and Patrice made some very good points. The only thing I would kind of twist a little bit is I don't like President Trump being involved in this. This is... I know he speaks kind of for the everyman, and I respect that, but this is beneath him. He doesn't need to get involved with the NFL. They're putting out a lousy product right now to be, you know, all by themselves. Witness the Miami Dolphins, which I have to follow each week. It's a horrible product. The NFL is doing more harm to themselves than they ever could do as a result of, you know, President Trump tweeting. Let them, hoist themselves on their own petard, if you will, and then they'll change. It doesn't have to be the president getting involved.
Well, to Gary B's point, John, of the nearly 1,700 players in the NFL, there was one Giant, two Dolphins, and one Oakland Raider that didn't stand for the national anthem this past week, and one Chief stayed in the tunnel. That was week 11. So he's pointing out something, a behavior that is very few players in the league.
Very few players in the league. And look, we can't assign motives. We can't say emphatically that they're divisive or not. That's being able to mind read. That's impossible to do. Look, I had to deal with this recently because I'm part of the Major League Rugby. Our inaugural season is next year. We just had a league meeting. We decided what we're going to do with anthem protests. And we decided, even though I personally agree with what they say they're protesting, that's inequality in a judicial system and incarceration rates among minorities, we decided that all should stand and respect every national anthem. And I think that's the way that they should going forward. But the NFL is a private business, to Gary B's point. They have a right to do whatever they want.
Jonas, does the president have it right that these men need to stand?
Well, he's right about the part about where they're talking about sticking them in the locker room. That's the craziest thing I've ever. I can't even imagine how dumb that is, a decision. But like, I think the NFL players are actually, if you want to raise awareness to an issue, are doing a much better job than the unions and all these other groups we've been talking about. It's relatively interesting, and the public kind of knows what they're doing, whether you agree with it or not. They're raising the issue. That's the point of doing it. They have a right to do it. They're celebrities. I kind of like my sports hero being politically agitators, even though I don't agree with their politics necessarily. So I think they all need to be standing up for this. And I don't think he's right about them not doing it. I think he's right about the mistakes being made by NFL about the whole thing.
But Julie, we have to point out that prior to 2009, the players typically did not stand out on the field during the national anthem.
Right, precisely. So to say that this is a new idea, like Donald Trump tweeted today, in fact, I believe it's an idea that they're coming out with in reaction to the fact that Donald Trump has created such a huge stink about this. So, you know, when Patrice initially said that this is about the left being divisive, this is about our president being divisive. He is the one that is driving this narrative. And so I think that the NFL is kind of saying, okay, maybe we're just going to opt out of this because apparently this is something that the president of the United States thinks is worth his time. And to agree with Gary B., I would rather my president find this below him and focus on things that are more important. Oh my God, like why is he spending his time on this?
Patrice, you get the final word on this, but the president didn't start it, and there are a lot of Americans who are angry that people cannot respect the anthem.
You know, what's interesting is, these protests had dwindled down to nothing at the very beginning of the season. And it wasn't until President Trump did tweet, which, to the point of some of my colleagues here, that all of a sudden this anti-Trump resurgence of interest in the protests came forward. Again, I stand by my comments about the motives of these guys. I really hope, I'm an ardent criminal justice reform supporter, and I hope that they're going to be sincere. But if they're not, it's hard to believe that they're really being sincere and not just stepping up as soon as the president says something about it because they feel slighted by him, and it's #resistance.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Cashing in just over an hour.